would you say to someone who's trying to figure out, how to like relate, in the world and the church? Like Josh, I mean, both of you guys came back just immediately with this, like, gotta be yourself, and you gotta be authentically you. And I think that there's something I would love for you guys just to lean into, like the importance of whatever season you're in, because you both have been in seasons of, I mean, Josh, you've been changing water heaters. Lacey, you've been waitressing, and you both been on stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Like, so what does it look like to make sure that, because we don't always get to choose when we follow Jesus, we don't always get to choose what that's going to look like, right? So why is it important? I guess let's say that. Why is it important for us to make sure that we're staying on just true to who God made us to be?
This is for Britt. Are you asking for Britt?
I was asking you guys. Britt asked that last time. She's going to have new questions this time, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, I think it's a catch-22 that God kind of sets it up was sort of like that. It's kind of like anytime we enter performance, we lose the thing we're performing for if it's not, our motives aren't right, and we wouldn't always know our motives aren't right until we start performing and everything falls apart. And I don't know how many, I have simple things I can encourage people, like when they lose their voice. Like I have simple things about voice lessons that I've learned over the years. But God used to take my voice away all the time. And it was like a fun adventure, like game to me. And I know that there was some like technical stuff that I learned to do better, but there were times when I would be like, and it would be like the worst show ever. And I'm like, I'm not here because I want to make fans. I'm here because I feel like you sent me here. So I'm going to open my mouth and you're going to see. If this is embarrassing, it's on you, God. I'm just going to do what you told me. And so I would open my mouth and I would sing and it would be whatever. And I just try to keep going and never taking it, not the criticism or the praise, right? I don't take either one because I'm really just trying to follow the Lord. And so contractually, I'm obligated to sing even when I don't have a voice. So I go, I don't have a voice before I step on stage. I go up there, something comes out, it doesn't sound good at all. I have inner monitors, I can hear it clear. I know what's coming out. I go out and do the meet and greet, and every person that comes up says, that was the best I've ever heard you sing. And I say, thank you. I don't say anything about that whole drama because I know it's this weird adventure with God. Now that's my experience. I think it's harder for people, and I know nothing about music. I know people, that's probably super hard for people who are musicians, who are trained with their voice. Like my sister-in-law, she's an amazing musician. She grew up with parents who teach music, like classical, trained by ear, like all the stuff. And like, I don't know any of that stuff. I came to know music and want to even write my first song because of Nirvana, who plays what I would say trash grunge. It's just like emotional vomit in musical form. And it's like, and I thought, wow, you could do that. I want to do that. Just like yell about what's bothering you in a microphone, and it wasn't even, that's when before I even knew Christ. But I loved the fact that there was some kind of genuineness of falling on your face in front of people.
Yeah.
And even that can become its own performance. And I realized that later when I knew Christ. So I thought, oh, we're just ourselves and we don't judge people like others. And then I was judging the people that I thought judged people. I judged the Christians who have together. And I judged those fancy musicians that were actually excellent at what they did. And part of that is, I don't know. So for me, it was such a weird journey with music that it was when I heard the sermon, don't hide your gifts and talents. If you bury them, the Lord will look at you and call you a wicked, lazy servant. And I just loved the Lord so much. I wanted to just do whatever he asks of us. So I just started giving whatever I could. And one of those things was I happened to know how to play the guitar because my mom did. And I would write songs from my bedroom. And then one day somebody asked me if I would sing a song for a Christian music club. And I just said, at school, it was my art teacher who found out I was a Christian, because before that I was a hellion, and I made everybody's life miserable. And so it got around to the teachers that I became a Christian. And so she wasn't really supposed to invite me to the Christian music club, but she had just kind of suggested there was a club that did you become a Christian? She was like, and so I was like, okay. And I just heard the sermon, don't hide your gifts. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go play my song in front of these people. And all I did was close my eyes and be with him like I was in my room. And I ignored everyone. That's how I worshiped in every weird church I ever went to, because I would just go to any church that was open. And they didn't always worship that way. But I would go in the front where I couldn't see anybody. I would close my eyes and I'm just alone with Jesus. It's me and him. So I did that when I played. And when I opened my eyes, the girl in front of me is crying. And God is doing something in her heart. And it's not even about her. It's about me and Jesus and a prayer I had for my brother. That's what the song was about. And it was 3 chords. And it was like, I'm not even a guitar player. I just did it in my room. And I offered that to the Lord in that moment, not to the people. I wasn't trying to play for them. I wasn't performing. I was like singing a love song for my dad, you know?
Yeah.
Who had just become a father to me. I was thankful. I had been an orphan before in my brain. And now I knew I was, you know, and so this is the difference between performance. If we get into performance and we get into looking at people, then we get into a trap and we actually lose our inspiration. We lose our ability to write freely, to be ourselves. Now we have to worry about what do they think about this or that. As soon as you get to that place, you lose your footing to be who you're created to be. You're a different version of that. And so for us, like, I just feel like learning that was the difference between whether I could. I mean, it still is the same. If Josh tells me, okay, we gotta write a song right now, or okay, we gotta do a live stream, or we gotta do, and I'm like, I feel like I don't think I've talked to Jesus like in the past 10 minutes. I really need to sit with him before I do this. It has to be, you know, like, and so I can get my orientation, right? Oh, that's
Yep.
she was like, Josh is like, what are you talking about? Just sing. I'm like, just sing all around me. I'm like, I can't just sing all around. He's like, you've done it a million times. I just don't like doing that.
Josh, I love the look on your face, right, when she said that.
We talked about that yesterday. She needs a lot of words, but there was a season where she needed to hear a word from God every hour. And there's, you know, a season right now where she's been okay every couple
It's
days
weird.
or so.
If all the things I just told you had happened 2 weeks ago, I would have been under the table crying in a ball, like I don't know what's happening. All these people are here. I need to be alone. But because it just happened to be at the right time when God gave me grace for it all, and I was able to respond. And that's what it is with music too. Same thing.
I think it's something she just said there, Brad, and it ties in what you said too about knowing what time it is. I feel like that's the running theme in my life, is knowing what time it is. And the more I think about it, the more it ties everything, every struggle. And coincidentally, my band that I told you about earlier was called Kairos, which is the Greek word for God's perfect timing. If we knew God's perfect timing, we'd have a lot less stress. So if you're single right now and God told you, guess what? You're going to get married in you're going to meet your husband in 15 months. Would you use those 15 months differently than if you didn't know and you're just like, am I ever going to get married? Am I ever going to be single? It's like, how many of us stress out trying to find our spouse or any of these people? And if God just said, hey, listen, in 15 months, you're going to meet them. Really good at encouraging single people to embrace their singleness, because whenever you're not single, and so, but it's hard to be like, well, if I knew my husband or my wife was coming, then I'd be able to enjoy this time right now. You know, if I knew the job promotion or whatever it is that you're praying and waiting for, if you knew exactly when it was coming, if you had a bird's eye view of your life, you're like, okay, I'm going to meet my spouse in 4 years. I'm going to get that job that I wanted this time, and God's going to give me this at this time. We live a lot differently, but it's always that unknown, not knowing what God's perfect timing is, which makes us build a relationship with him. What Dale said about he takes us to work with him, and that's what he wants. You know, Lacey says, I don't need my 6-year-old to help me unload the dishwasher. It actually takes twice as long to do it with his help. But I do it because of relationship, and I do it to teach him, and that makes it even special for me too.
And that's why we have to unload the dishwasher. I mean, why would God put us in this situation? I mean, we don't have, the thing is, like, God gives us these opportunities to learn love. And we cannot learn love if we know that we can, I guess everybody's different, but not the same way. If we know that in 15 months we're going to meet our husband, there is an opportunity to love God with trust and joy and peace, and not if we don't have that information. It's like, if I never give it to you, will you love me? Will you trust me? Can I be your all in all? Like, if you never get that promotion, do you know that I'm your promotion? Do you know that I'm the lover of your soul? That even what you get in your spouse is really what you want from me? Like, it's not about any of those things. Like, it's about learning my love through all these situations and all these relationships. It's learning my love, learning that how I love you and how you love me in return, and
embracing them too. I think embracing them is important. God called you to singleness right now, embrace singleness. He called you
that's faith, that's
to
trust.
The job that it's not the job you want, but it's the job you have. Embrace that job. You know, I feel like that's one of the few things that I did correctly in that season, when I identified that I had unhealthy thinking, that I wasn't where I wanted to be. But then I embraced the season He gave me, and that season for a while looked like doing plumbing. And plumbing wasn't on my radar, but I embraced it, and it was still, looking back, one of the best 3 years of my life. I've learned a ton in that season, and it was amazing. And so if we don't embrace those, we might miss out on, or we think we're waiting for this thing, and God's like, well, you're gonna really enjoy this if you just embrace what I have in front of you right now.